Welcome to the Virtual IT Learning. In this video, you will learn Python introduction, Python fundamentals, high-level features, and how to set up the Python to start with the Python programming. The upcoming tutorials will contain the hands-on examples with demos, which will help you understand and use Python programming in real-life scenarios. Following are the topics that will be covered in this video. We will begin with high-level features and introduction to Python. So what is Python? Python is a high-level interpreted, interactive, and object-oriented scripting language. It is designed to be highly readable. It uses English-like keywords frequently as opposed to other languages. Python is a versatile and powerful programming language. It is known for its simplicity and readability, making it a great choice for beginners to experienced developers. It supports multiple programming paradigms, including procedural, object-oriented, and functional programming. Here are some of high-level features of Python. Python is a high-level language. So what does it mean? It is an easy language for humans to understand. No specific knowledge is required of the processor or hardware that the program will run on. It is interpreted. That means Python is processed at runtime by the interpreter. You do not need to compile your program before executing it. This is similar to other languages like Perl and PHP. It is also interactive. You can run the Python commands at Python prompt and interact with the interpreter directly to write your programs. It is also object-oriented scripting language. So what does that mean? Object-oriented programming is based on a software design around data or objects rather than functions. Another feature of Python is readability and simplicity. Python's syntax is designed to be readable, clear, and easy to learn, with an emphasis on simplicity, making it easier to maintain and debug code. Being highly readable, it is an excellent language for beginners. It has English-like keywords, which helps newcomers understand the code flow easily. Another feature is versatility. Python is used in various domains, including web development, data analysis, artificial intelligence or AI, scientific computing, and more. This wide range of applications makes Python a valuable skill in many job markets. Now let's take a look on some of Python's core concepts. Python supports variables and various data types. A variable is a container for storing a value. You can create a variable by assigning a value to it using the equal operator. The value can be of any data type, such as string, integer, or floating point number. Once a variable is assigned a value, it can be used throughout your program. Python also supports several built-in data types, including integers or numbers, decimal numbers or floats, strings or texts, lists, tuples, dictionaries, and Boolean data types. Variables do not need explicit declaration to reserve memory space. The declaration happens automatically when you assign a value. Another concept of Python is the usage of conditional statements. Loops are the control flow. Python supports the usual loops or control flow statements found in other languages using if, for, and while statements. Now let's talk about the functions and libraries that Python supports. Python has functions and modules. A function is a block of code that can be reused throughout your program. Functions are useful for breaking down a complex program into smaller, more manageable pieces, and Python library is a collection of pre-written code that can be used to perform various tasks. Libraries provide a way to add functionality to your program without having to write the code yourself. The next one is classes and objects. Python supports object-oriented programming with classes and objects. In Python, a class is a blueprint for creating objects, and an object is an instance of a class. Classes provide a way to model real-world concepts and encapsulate data and behavior in a single unit. Object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm that uses classes and objects to represent real-world concepts and organize code in a way that is easy to understand, maintain, and extend. The last one is operators. Python also supports operators like arithmetic operators, comparison operators, logical operators, and assignment operators. Next, move to the next slide. There are a few important points to note before we start. You can write and execute a simple Python script from the terminal without creating any Python file. If the script is large, then it requires writing and saving the script in a Python file by using any editor. To be able to code in Python, you can use any text editor or any code editor like Sublime, Visual Studio Code, or any IDE software like Visual Studio Code. We will be using Visual Studio Code in this course. When you save the Python file, it is saved with a .py extension. In order to start coding in Python, you will need to create a project directory or a folder on your computer. This will be your Python program repository. Please note we will be using Python version 3 in this course. Installing and setting up Python. You can download the latest version of Python for your operating system, Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, Unix from official Python website, which is python.org. Please note that Python comes with pre-installed on most of Linux distributions and Mac OS. Here is a sample screen when you will go to python.org page, or this one. When you click on download, it will download a file on your download folder. Here's a sample of a downloaded file. Next is Python installation. After you have downloaded Python, you can now install it. For Windows, run the installer and select Add Python to Path to make Python accessible from the command line, and then follow the installation prompts. For Mac OS or Linux, typically Python will install without additional steps. You can use the terminal to verify the installation by running Python 3 --version. Once Python is installed on your computer, next step would be to install the Visual Studio Code. So what is Visual Studio Code? Visual Studio Code, also known as VS Code, is a source code editor developed by Microsoft for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. While you can use any text editor, IDE or integrated development environment like Visual Studio Code enhances your coding experience with features such as syntax highlighting, code completion, support for debugging, intelligent code completion, snippets, code refactoring, and embedded Git compatibilities. Please note we will use Visual Studio Code in this tutorial. To download Visual Studio Code, just Google Visual Studio Code, or you can go to visualstudio.com and then click on option download for Windows. Once installation is done, you can access Visual Studio Code from your computer. So the next step would be to configure the Visual Studio Code for Python. Let's move on to the Visual Studio Code and set up the environment for Python. Here's how you can access Visual Studio Code after the installation. After the installation, once you have accessed the Visual Studio Code from your computer, the next step would be to configure the Visual Studio Code for Python. You can go to View, Command Palette to search anything about Visual Studio Code, like Help, Keyboard Shortcuts. You can also change the appearance of Visual Studio Code by going to File, Preferences, and Settings. Here you can change the text style, font style, color, and a lot more things. This is the extension option where you can install any required extensions. Please note all popular extensions are available under extension option. So after installing Visual Studio Code, we will need to install the Python extension by Microsoft. Just type Python here. So here is the Python extension from Microsoft that we need to install. Click on it. The Python extension is helpful in executing the Python code, highlighting syntaxes, code formatting, provides syntax highlighting, and few other features while you are coding in Python. Since I have already installed it, so it's not showing install option, but if you have not installed it, you will see the install option here. Click on install, so it will install the Python extension from Microsoft. Once the Python extension is installed, you are ready to start the Python programming. Click on the extensions to disappear it. Now access Explorer, which will display the project directory. This is the Explorer option. Here you will see folder and files for your particular project. Here you need to create a directory for your Python programs or project. This will be a local directory on your hardware. If you have already created a folder, then you can go to File, Open Folder, or you can create a new folder here using this option. Since I have already created the folder, so I can just open that folder. This is the folder that I'm going to open. Now this has been set as my Python program or project directory. So once that's done, you are now in your project directory or folder. That is a local folder on your hard drive. At this point, we are ready to start with Python. Let's start with the very first Python program, Hello World. Since our environment has already been set, so let's create a new file by going into File menu, New File. From here, choose file type as Python file. So now this has been set as Python file. Save the file in your project directory as Hello World. This is the very first program. As you can see, the file has been saved with a .py extension. Here in this window, you can start writing a program. Okay, let's run this program. Okay, here is the output. You can also run this program by typing Python and Hello World. So here's how you can just display a message on Python terminal. You can also run Python programs using the terminal or command prompt. Open up the command prompt using cmd command and then type Python to start the interactive mode. The same program which we used to print Hello World message, you can do exactly same thing in here. So here's the output. To exit from Python shell script, just type exit. As previously mentioned, if the script is large, then it requires writing and saving the script in a Python file by using an editor like Visual Studio Code or any IDE software that supports Python. To clear the terminal screen, just type cls. A few words about print function in Python. The print function in Python is used to print a specific message on the screen. The print command in Python prints strings or objects, which are converted to strings while printing on a screen. Print hello world within quotes is acceptable in Python 2, but in Python 3, print must be followed by parentheses. Please note, Visual Studio Code adds the feature of auto indentation for spaces in Python. This video was to cover high-level introduction of Python and setting up the environment. We will learn more about Python in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching this video.